You bring the energy, he'll do the rest. Martinez and Company, powered by Sports Radio 102.9 The Game.
You're going to hear it right here.
The show starts now.
Good Monday morning, the day after the first match, which was absolutely a phenomenal, and I do mean, folks, an absolute phenomenal time out there. And thank you to the Tampa Bay Sun Football Club. We do appreciate them having on us aboard the full entire season, so we'll be covering this team along with others as well. But thank you especially to Tampa Bay. Thank you to the fans who turned out, because it was not only a sold-out crowd, the energy, the atmosphere, everything that went on with this team was absolutely phenomenal. 1-1 draw at the very end of it, but it didn't matter because it felt like, honestly, a home win just because of the crowd. Yes, the heat was there. It was 95 degrees at kickoff. I don't think anybody really, other than maybe taking the sweat off your brow and trying to cool down a little bit, but for the most part, it seemed like from the amenities to the bathrooms, and a lot of people mentioned how clean they were, like they were just constantly going in and out and cleaning them off. So thank you to the Tampa Bay Sun for just an outstanding time. We saw the president of the Super League, Amanda, was there. She, as Dylan and I actually were doing a report out on the pitch, she came and waved by to the camera, and we had a conversation with her afterwards, after we did our 5-minute introduction there into what was going to be a great match. But thank you all. And of course, Dylan Spalding joining me here, beat writer for Sports Radio 102.9 from The Game. It was a terrific day, Dylan. And for sure for the fans, for everybody in attendance, it was outstanding. The best word I could say was just an outstanding event.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really, really cool to see the crowd coming out to support this team in its first game in the history of the team, and also in its first season with the USL, who's also in their first season as well. So really, really cool stuff. A lot of history being made. A lot of celebs were there last night. Titus O'Neil. Who else was there? Shane McClanahan, Baker Mayfield, the mayor, Jane Castor was there as well. Jay Retcher from 95.3 WDAE was there. So a lot of big names in the Tampa Bay area, a lot of big support coming out to cheer on this team. And unfortunately, we didn't win, but we also didn't lose. That's a positive. The team, there's some things they could work on, but I think overall it's a good foundation. I think they have a solid building block, at least, to going forward here, heading into next week when they play the DC Power. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup next week against a DC Power team who will be traveling from, where are they? They went to Carolina last week, right? Were they in Carolina?
DC Power? Carolina.
Carolina. So, they lost last week. They're going to want to try to get a win here this week, heading against Tampa. And after that, then Tampa hits the road, and we'll see how they do on the road. But yeah, it was a great experience, and I know we're going to unpack a lot of things here from the game here, definitely in the first part of the show.
Yeah, we have a couple of snippets. I'll have the post-game presser, Coach Brown with Hannah, or goalkeeper. Yep. It was so that, and also some other interviews as well that I'll kind of sprinkle in between here, and then later on I post them up on the website on sr1029thegame.com. Couple of younger athletes that are aspiring to be just like this, the league here with the Tampa Sun Football Club. These young ladies, I ended up stopping them as some of them were playing on the grass, some other ones were walking by, end up having just a great time, end up talking to a lot of folks as I walked around, and just tried to do the best we possibly could, engage with a couple of folks. One interview very, very early on with another group. For some reason, after about 30 seconds, it cut off. It did go over the air, but unfortunately, I did not have the opportunity to bring it back. But nonetheless, it was such a great time. Also, along with the Tampa Bay Sun having a draw for yesterday's match, the USF Women's Soccer Club ended up winning yesterday as well, which we can't be. I would love to be at two places at once, but unfortunately I can't. But it didn't win their game as well, 5-1. I'll have highlights from the goals that they had from USF. Also, the entrance coming in from the Tampa Bay Sun Football Club, and I got to go back to the name because I'm drawing a blank on it. But I'll Christina Uncle, her daughter, her daughter came out part with the team as well as they led the ceremonies onto the pitch. And ironically enough, if it's the same one, I do believe, I also had an interview with her and the other young ladies that were sitting around. So it was just such a great time yesterday. Again, thank you to everyone from Tampa Bay who showed up, who came out here to see it. And Dylan, we had mentioned it as well. The ratio, I want to say it was a good 50-50, but there was a lot of men in attendance to support this team, to support the club. It was such a great time. I've been to a lot of events. I've covered a lot. I want to say it's probably one of my all-time favorites, and I'm covering it. And I think just because how everything was handled from the media room to credentials to just walking around to be able to go out on the pitch, it was such a fun time. So thank you once again to the Tampa Bay Sun Football Club. We had such a great time yesterday. But leading up to the game, I want to share this one out first as again the opening. And I know I could be wrong here. I don't want to say the opening ceremony, but when they walk onto the field here, it was just such a great time. I think a lot of people, they wanted to be for some reason it's not coming up here, but let me, as I always work the magic for one reason or another. Let's go back to, come on. Why is this not working the way I want it to? So let me go over to here. It's always, when we're live, it's always something, but I don't know why in the world this is not doing this. So give me a second. Let me install a couple things here. Let me try this again and maybe it'll finally come up. There it is. All right. So walking in, and this was again, you could hear the atmosphere from the crowd as the team ended up walking in. It was again, such a great time, but here is the opening ceremony leading up to the match. No, ironically, one of my, yes, and it's kind of odd to maybe not say that it's one of my favorite dance songs. It was nice to see that they actually used that as the opening intro, Chasing the Sun, which is,
and ironically enough, the interview they had with those little girls, those are all the little girls that were in the referee walk too, which is cool.
Yeah. So it was such a great time. Like I said, we ended up speaking to a bunch of folks last night, a lot of fans, and it was just such a great time. But opening up the match, which I think the hype, the expectation, also the president of the USL, Amanda had stopped by. Like I said, we had mentioned, we talked about it, and there was one that she, if I can bring that up as well, Amanda Vandervoort, who just, I mean, you talk about traveling over the weekend, end up doing probably above and beyond just to make sure with the product that she was going to put on the field, end up having a great time. But I want to bring this up as well because this is Amanda out in the at the end of the pitch there, where you can hear her drumming along with everyone else saying Sun FC. So you guys are wondering what she's about to pound out on the drums here. It's Sun FC, but anyways, here it is. Now, I don't know of many people that go out there and want to be part of the atmosphere, that want to hang around. I mean, she sweated just like everybody else did yesterday, but she made it a point to make sure, and not because she had to. She just wanted to greet as many people as she possibly could and just enjoy the entire atmosphere because you couldn't get away from her. She was just everywhere, from when she walked around on the pitch before the game had started, as she walked around the field, greeting the Tampa Bay Sun Football Club, the team itself, when they came off the boat, which was really cool to see coming off the water taxi. How they put that Riverfront Stadium together, it's quite the atmosphere. And I think the one thing we really enjoyed too, Dylan, which you had the opportunity to go up to the top deck of the garage, but it was really neat to watch everyone come across the bridge as they're walking into the stadium and vice versa, as the sun was going down and some people are starting to head out. It was, I mean, you couldn't, I know there's going to be a future stadium for this team, but I think this season, and maybe even possibly into the next, I think everybody's going to really enjoy everything that this club has to provide. But for the president of the USL, the Super League here for the women, she was, Amanda was just all over the place. And it was just, again, it's fun to see because it's rare that you'll get the president, because of it, whether it being he or she, because they have so much stuff on their plate that a lot of times they'll come in, say a couple things, and a lot of times they'll exit out because they have to do other venues. But it was such a great time. It was good to see her just everywhere.
Yeah, she really interacted with the fan base and really got involved with the product. And I think that's a testament to the commitment that this league is going to have with their teams, right? I don't know what the future holds in regards to their expansion in the future. I'd imagine this league will grow and there will be more markets, and we'll see this league become a real professional league as it continues to get more teams into different cities and such. But yeah, really happy. Amanda had mentioned about the bridge too. We were talking to her as well. That was cool. Yeah, that was a really neat thing. And you actually had people who would actually watch the game from the bridge, who were actually just standing out there and watching the game because of how packed it was in the stadium. It was sold out, so people didn't buy tickets, so they watched it from the top of the parking garage, or they watched it from the bridge over yonder. So there were some really cool views. I was on top of the parking garage. I was kind of hoping that maybe we would be able to there was potentially going to be a flyover. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Probably just some logistical things couldn't come together for them. But yeah, it was really, really cool. Again, really happy. And this is awesome too. This is what I want the Rays to do if they were to build a stadium on the water. Have a taxi to bring your players over. I'm really excited to see this video.
Yeah, I know it would be cool. But the only way you can make it happen, though, Dylan, would have to be that they would have to come down by the pier, St. Pete Pier, and then basically take a trolley ride over. And that's when they open up the new ballpark here in 2027. It would be neat to see, but you would just have to have a trolley escort over from the water. And
they could definitely do it at Amalie if they wanted to.
They could. They definitely could. But this was really really nice to see here yesterday. And then once they got off and they were inside the stadium itself, inside the venue, the nice thing was, again, Amanda had greeted all the athletes that were coming in. But this was a really cool scene yesterday afternoon. That's how you represent from one team to the other. Because we saw the Lightning put out a post saying good luck to the ladies as they get ready to start the match. Same way with the Rays. So it's a lot of support here in the Bay for every team, one towards another, obviously. But it was just, like I said, you couldn't, other than the heat, you couldn't ask for a better day. And the humidity actually was a lot lower than what it's normally been around here. It's picked up quite a lot today for those who live here in the Bay Area. But again, it was just such a great time. I think the way they put everything together was really well. Plenty of water for those who needed it, because again, it was an extremely hot day yesterday. But it was just nice to see overall what they've done. And I'll get into a couple other videos that matter of fact, the one other one that I want to show here was the first goal ever. And this was by Brooke Hendricks. So this is the first one for the team in general. And that, like I said, towards the end of the game, you would never know it ended up being a draw just because of the way how everything ended up finishing up last night. The excitement afterwards, even during the post-game press conference, it was just a post-match press conference. It was really nice. But here's the first goal ever by our Tampa Bay Sun Football Club.
It's a Baldwin Group corner kick. As it comes in, Hendricks scores! It's a Baldwin Group corner kick as it comes in.
Now, we heard after the game, somebody had a little bit of a shiner on her eye. and I believe someone did post that question, and it may have been Mr. Spalding.
Yeah, I believe I did. Yeah, because I asked Denise what like how proud she was of Brooke getting that first goal in the team's history, and she had said, yeah, she did it with like a black eye or something, and then at the end of the press conference too, Brooke had said too, she's like, I'll just tell him I was in like a bar fight or something,
Yeah.
and we were dying. No, I thought like energy wise in the press conferences, like this game. And I think as we get later into the season and as these teams begin to really kind of get going with this league, I think we're going to start seeing games like, I don't want to say mean more, but like this game is obviously, there's a lot more than just soccer going on. There's the pageantry, the
Right.
history that's being made here. So I think as we get going into this season, and as Denise had said in the press conference yesterday, we're going to start focusing more on the game. And I do think that will be something we will begin to see as we begin to get through this first half of the season. Obviously, it runs through the spring. I do believe that we'll start seeing this team take losses hard, and they'll probably take wins and be happy that they won a game. So I think we'll start seeing that, because tonight, again, win, loss, tie, I think you're just proud that you were able to get to this point, and now you just got to begin to start executing week in and week out as we go forward with this first half of the season.
You can hear in Coach Brown's voice yesterday, though, during the presser, is that she was more, from when it seemed like the entire team just wanted to get this one particular game out of the way. Again, it was historical, nonetheless, because they are the very first all-women league, not only here in the Bay, but obviously around with the other 10 that are here in the league as well. But that is just getting everything out of the way, the opening jitters, what could have gone wrong. Thankfully, nothing did. Any major catastrophe as far as any kind of injury, all that was avoided. So I think just getting this team loaded up here, and mind you, these ladies have been together less than 2 months. That's the other big takeaway from this as well. Even on December, Christina Uncle had put out there, what was coming here to the Bay, one of the early announcements on. And then you're talking about putting this team together, and I mean, women from international leagues, professional leagues, locally here. So to be able to gel a team as well as they did, and the product they put out there on the pitch, I mean, it was great. So Coach Brown, very excited for sure for the season. She also is very humble by saying that, she's not the one that should have been there. And for the most part, you're going to say that, but it was just that transition when I didn't get the opportunity of asking, only because I know that'll come up here in the next set of questions. But the one thing, making a transition over from USF now over to the pros, and knowing that you have this huge, basically like monkey on your back, and not saying that she does, but carrying that weight, knowing that now everybody who hasn't seen you before nationally, because they may have not paid attention to USF, and not taking anything away from university, but because they haven't seen you before at that level, now you're on the world level where everyone is watching what's going on. But I think for this club, it seems like, and we could be wrong, and we may have talked about this last night as well, but this could be the team that we will see in the postseason and possibly contenders. And again, just game one, it was a draw, don't get me wrong, but as the key pieces come into place, as we see different, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a rotation of players that are going to come in and out. But I think as this team starts to build and they start to grow, it will become a better product as the season goes along. And as you had just mentioned, Dylan, that the loss might come a little bit hard for them for sure, because you want to win any team at any level the same way. We had mentioned a Coach Brown during the post game, and I'll play it after the break. But to knowing that anything other than the playoffs or a championship, it's what everybody's goal is in mind. And coming into the league the first year, I think if Tampa can get to that point where they are at the championship game and for all hypothetical purposes, walk away with it, I mean, the net bar is extremely raised. But we saw yesterday on the product on the field, again on the pitch, we saw what this team could potentially do, damage coming throughout the entire season. But it's a long way to spring. Everybody's going to enjoy it. And again, we'll be back out there again come next Sunday. But it was just the beginning of the first half, even though they went down 1-0 with the bonus 5, as they came up to the end of regulation, Dallas Trinity ended up scoring, and you can kind of hear the wind a little bit out of the sail for the fans that were there. But thankfully not too bad, because they come back second half, draw, put in the draw, and then we had an additional 6 minutes after regulation, and it still ended up finishing up with the draw, which almost an opportunity for Tampa to actually win the game. I would say about 3 minutes into the overtime, which was good to see. But again, this team here, I think they're just watching what we saw yesterday they're firing. I won't say it from all cylinders, but they definitely have the pistons going up and down.
They definitely have. Again, they have the building blocks, I think, to make this year a very special year for the team. You kind of mentioned about like the winning the championship. Yeah, I mean, they want to win the first league title. That's, going to be the big key. That's being able to say you're the first ever league champions of anything is a huge deal. So Tampa would love to be able to do that. Obviously, Tampa Bay has a rich tradition here over the last few years of winning championships. We've seen it time and time again with the Rays and the Bucks and the Lightning, more so the Bucks and the Lightning, because they've actually won their respective league championships. The Rays got close, but weren't able to. Everybody remembers that whole catastrophe that happened. But no, I mean, I think this team is special. I think you can kind of even tell from their press conference. This is they have a lot of personality. They're going to be, they have a lot of heart. They have a lot of grit. We heard that from the press conference. We'll hear more about, the press conference in a little bit from Denise. And obviously we got to ask them a few good questions as well. We got a few questions in, and I think defensively, they got a little bit of work on. They just, they got pressured defensively by Dallas's back half, and that really caused them some fits. Obviously, it's tough, right? All these teams are going to be a new experience, a learning experience for them. So, like next week when they play DC, it's going to be a learning experience for this team. So, I'm interested to see how this team, again, how this team gels together, what they continue to improve on. I know they're going to improve. And I think this is going to be a solid bunch. I really, really do. There's a lot of good mix of veterans and also kind of younger players as well. As mentioned, we saw some of the academy players as well last night. That was pretty cool. So I think this is going to be a good group. They just, again, got to fix some things defensively and even offensively as well. Not get into those fits early on in the game, be able to be a little bit more aggressive. And we saw that in the second half, and it worked out. So I'm looking forward to seeing how everything plays out.
I think so. I think it's going to be, like I said, I believe, it's just my opinion, and how much that matters it's almost like none and void. But I think for what we're going to see from what we saw yesterday, this team is going to be very exciting. I think Tampa Bay has really a lot to be proud of, not only just because, again, the fans that were in attendance, just everybody in general, the excitement, the atmosphere from yesterday. I mean, you're not going to have people just – I know you have people to show up because of the support. Don't get me wrong. That's yep. What we all want. That's what we all want to see. But it's just overall, it's so much fun to see how – all this ends up playing out. So I can't wait to see what happens here. After we'll get into go ahead, Dylan.
And I was going to say real quick, I think another big positive, I really think the biggest solidifier, like the one thing that I thought was probably concrete, the best that we saw from Tampa last night was the goalkeeping by Ashley Orkis. Very, very impressed by how she played last night. She was stout defensively. She did not allow basically anything. There was obviously the one goal that was scored by Dallas, but that was just kind of because there's a lot of traffic going on the corner kick cross, and it ended up just getting in off a header that kind of was just right place, right time. So give credit to Ashley Orkis. She really, really helped the Tampa Bay Sun keep the game at least 1-0, and then obviously being able to get in the score, tying it up. So yeah, I thought she played really, really good. That was probably the biggest positive that I saw last night. And there was a lot of positives, but that was probably the best play I've seen out of the entire game. She looked really, really good last night.
She did. And a couple of early stops too, early on with Dallas in the attack, as we saw, and then within the first, I would say the first 5 minutes of the match. I mean, we could definitely see it. And they, the good thing was too, they also ended up taking a break twice during the match because they wanted to make sure that the athletes stayed hydrated. So they ended up taking a 3-minute break. I think, truthfully, it lasted maybe about a minute and a half. I don't even think it was a full 3 minutes that we could see. But you're absolutely right, because she did some outstanding stuff. If anything, at least you have a leader at the net.
Yeah,
that you can believe in. So
that's important.
She will only get better. I mean, again, for the stops, and unfortunately, I don't have the stats. We don't have the stats at the moment to see how many stops she actually had. But from what we can see from Dylan and I can end up seeing, along with everybody else that end up being there at the venue, I would guess to venture, and I could be wrong until I finally get the stats, but it looked at least about, you only allowed 1 goal, and it seemed like at least there were 7 shots on goal from what it seemed like yesterday. But until I get the final stats, and if we end up getting them, I'll share them out as well, so you guys can end up seeing it. But before we go into the break here, there's a small clip of the video where again, I believe that Christina Uncle's younger daughter, who came out early on into the pageantry, as Dylan had mentioned, these, and then I can't unfortunately make this any bigger either, but you can hear the young ladies and the excitement that they had. So I'm going to play a little bit of this. We'll go into the break, and then after break, we'll come back and hear what Coach had to say last night. All right, and what team you play for, right? Mm-hmm. You know what team to play for? Soccer team?
Oh, Raiders.
All right.
Wait, she does gymnastics. I'm a gymnast for SGA.
Okay, well, I'm going to give me a second. I'll start right up, right? Now ask you guys a question. Hey, it's Angel Martinez here with Sports Radio 102.9 from the game, and I stopped these young ladies to them for a second. I did see you flipping here over the artificial turf, so I'm assuming that you're involved with gymnastics?
Yes.
All right. How long have you been involved?
For about 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
So did you watch the Olympics and saw what the ladies did on the floor?
Yes.
How'd you like it?
It's pretty cool.
All right. And then the rest of you ladies, now you play soccer as well, correct?
I do soccer and gymnastics.
So, which one you like better?
I can't really pick. I love both of them.
That's okay, but that's good. Now, how long have you been doing both?
I've been doing soccer since I was 4 years old, and I've been doing gymnastics for 1 year.
For 1 year? You enjoying it? Mm-hmm. That's good. Now, how long have you been playing soccer?
So I've been playing soccer for about, I'll say 5 years.
5 years? You enjoy it? You like being part of a team?
Yeah.
So when you see these ladies out here, right, because they're working hard and they're trying to bring the best product on the field, and it's the first time we had an all-women's league here in Tampa Bay. So how excited is it for you young ladies knowing that you guys can be the future stars out there on the field?
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool? Now, how long have you been playing?
2 months.
2 months? You liking it? Well, listen, I hope you ladies have fun. Enjoy it. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello.
I've been playing for 6 years.
You've been playing for 6 years?
Yep.
So when did you start? How old?
I was 4.
4?
Yep.
So how much have you enjoyed it?
It's pretty good. I do swimming and soccer actually, so that's fun. We went to the Olympics this year in Paris just now, and we also went to the Women's World Cup.
So how'd you like the Olympics?
It was pretty fun. Ate a lot of macaroons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a good thing is, though, you get an opportunity that most people usually don't get the opportunity of going to. So that's something you're going to remember for a lifetime, which is really good, because you say if you like to be in the pool, so now you have 2 opportunities. You could be one in the Olympics, not only for swimming, but possibly for soccer as well. But if you had the choice, and they said to you, you only have one choice, either swimming or soccer for the Olympics, which one would it be?
It's pretty hard. Well, my parents carry on soccer, but I really like swimming, so I'll have to go with swimming.
Okay, that's right. There's not a wrong answer, though, because you enjoy both, and that's what's most important, right? So we'll get into a little bit more. That'll be posted up later on the website as well. So the ladies can see exactly what I'm talking about. Such a fun young group of girls that were out there, and they were just enjoying it, having fun. And thanks to the parents who, because Debbie, my producer, was out there with me. She was telling me as well that some of the parents were kind of looking and seeing to make sure, like, why is this person end up talking to them? So, and again, I stopped them. The parents, they were within arm's distance. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, too, of course, they asked questions because they want to make sure that everything was legitimate. So, there's another video with another group of girls that stopped by, and then their coach was walking by, and he started chanting with them. So it was just fun. Yeah, it was just a great time yesterday. So all those interviews will be up later on SR 1029 The Game, but we'll take our first commercial break here. We will come back with Coach Brown and the questions that were asked during a post-game presser and a couple more things here as we are into the first hour. Martinez coming here live from the Tampa region here as we are just sweating out. And I'm not saying to the oldies because it's a lot hotter today than it was yesterday. Nonetheless, once again, we'd like to thank everyone who came out yesterday, support the team and the fan base because it couldn't be done without them. So we'll go into our first break. I am Angel Martinez. He is Dylan Spalding, beat writer here for Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game. You're listening to Martinez Company live on Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game. We'll be right back.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, IonTP.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9 The Game, powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, or Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Listen, once again, it's like Gene the dance machine over there, but whichever one, don't forget you guys can call the show 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. Make your live comments here on the socials as well on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, Rumble, Twitch, just about everywhere you can get the live show, and especially over on the all 100% digital sports station, Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game. Download the app directly from the website at sr1029thegame.com. Now, taking a quick commercial break because I have limited time this morning here with Dylan, so I want to make sure we can try and get as much in as we can, as I also know he has a very busy schedule. But the other video that I want to bring up would be the post-game presser with Coach Brown. It was again afterwards. Oops, right? Okay. I want to make sure I bring that up there. But I want to bring up the post-game presser. She took some time out after the game. It was really good to see. Let me pause this right here so I can bring it up on the screen. But why did it not come up?
I also have it on my YouTube page if you wanted to pull it up on there too.
Yeah, I'll bring it up here. I know it's sometimes this thing. Here we go. Let me find it once again so that everybody can see. So this is Coach Brown about 10 minutes after the match, and it's the questions. And again, there's if I blow it up any bigger, it will look kind of ridiculous there. So here's Coach Brown here post game after the match.
Coach, obviously not the result you really wanted tonight, but what are you already thinking about for Saturday as far as tuning up and kind of adjusting with the players that you do have?
I mean, I think there's a lot of emotions tonight. I think it was just an incredible crowd. I'm so proud of Tampa Bay for showing up and being there for us. It was, really electric. And I think that played a lot into just, I don't know if you saw how many people we cramped, but when you're like that fired up, it actually, it does tax your energy system. So it wasn't easy. We didn't, we were still missing, 5 internationals. And so it was tricky, But I was super proud of the group. I thought they fought together, they stayed together, and they were you know, they were resilient.
Can you talk about the play of Ashley Orkins, who came up with some really big saves?
Yeah, she was incredible. I do think that's her bread and butter. She's an incredible shot stopper, and she just tracks the ball so well, and she's very athletic, and this was her style of game, and I'm so proud of her. Really great.
How proud of you to see Brooke getting that first goal and being able to kind of make some history there.
I mean, you saw the black eye. We weren't surprised that she was up and doing that, you know, but she was a beast on both ends of the ball. So, you know, it wasn't just the goal. It was her full performance, which was incredible. And because she won, I think, every aerial ball in our defensive third as well. But to come through like that was clutch for us. So, you know, I mean, she deserves it. She's a great player.
What would you say was the most difficult part of the match for you guys?
I think it was just digging yourself out of the first hole. I mean, you're so excited, and you know, we're not just playing for us, we're playing for you guys. We're playing to be the role models for all the little girls here in Tampa Bay. So, you know, getting scored on first, that's not easy, and knowing that we don't necessarily have the depth with experience that we want, although I was incredibly proud of the young ones that came on. So I just think it was like, okay, how do we get out of this? And they never had a doubt. They were so resilient in the locker room, so positive, and I wasn't, you know? I didn't come in with roses. I came in with the truth, and then they were together and they rose together, and it was like their unity that pushed them forward.
With all the pregame festivities leading up to this, the historical significance of this, how nice is it going to be moving forward just to be able to focus on the game?
You know, Christina Uncle always refers to us as having two teams, right? There's the physical team that plays, but then we have the front office team, and man, they have been incredible. Like, they pulled this off. It wasn't easy. It was so much work, and we're not this massive staff, you know, but everybody was doing the job of three, and I just thought it was phenomenal. I mean, we came in on a boat. Like, let's go.
On the pitch, Wasilla was amazing. She's a beast. That's exactly how I would describe her. Could you talk about her in the midfield today?
I mean, Wasilla's just so, she's so athletic. She's so creative on the ball. And what was interesting is that she gets tugged in 50 different directions. She's getting constant information from us and the center backs, and she is just absorbing it and learning so quickly. I mean, she played the 8, she played the 6, and then she ended at outside back. So that was pretty incredible. So yeah, I'm really thankful we have her and proud of her performance.
And when will we expect some of the internationals to come through?
Yeah, you tell me.
Soon,
hopefully soon. You know, we're really, you know, we're working hard. The team is together, working on them coming in, and it's got to be really hard for them to not be here. You know, but we feel like they're a part of us, and the support system is there. It's just hard that they can't be a part of it.
Coach, I got a two-part question for you. When you have as little information as you have going into a game against a team like Dallas, you don't know, how do you coach the team ahead of time? What are your instructions? And then as you go through the game, what are your instructions to change things up and adapt?
Yeah, that's really interesting. You know, we have a great analyst team, and what they did is they did their research on the team. We showed clips of the players that we thought were going to be key before the game. We put together our fictitious lineup, and we were like, let's not put a lot of stock in this, but, you know, I knew Petroselli for a long time, so I kind of know his style of play. I knew they weren't going to build. I knew they were going to be direct. I knew they were going to be tough on first and second balls. That's not necessarily the makeup of our team, so that was challenging, and you could see that we got better and better as the game went on because the rhythm, you know, we had to fight to get our own rhythm within the game.
And then my second question for you is related to the academy players. You had already mentioned them. It seemed like several of them made a very good impression, and I don't think that a lot of fans even knew that there were going to be academy players playing on the first day.
Yeah,
so
me neither.
It looks
so
great.
It was great. All of them have performed really well. It was really tough to actually select which ones would go in the game. I mean, Ella Martinez, as you saw, is just excitable and energetic, and, you know, even created some offensive opportunities for us, and then threw her body into everything. I mean, she doesn't weigh a lot, but she put every ounce of that body into every tackle. So extremely proud of her. And then Aaliyah's pretty ready. I mean, and she's not a 9. I mean, we had to, you know, select her because of her brain, her thought process, and her ability on the ball. And I thought she did phenomenal. And then we had to switch her again. So imagine you're like the youngest player out there, you get thrown into the 9, it's not your natural position, and then halfway through being out there, we're like, by the way, go out wide because Nasemo's cramping, she's going at the 9. So, you know, that's not easy for a young academy player, but she crushed it.
How did you feel about the team adapting to just kind of the back half pressure that Dallas was putting on you guys, especially early in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was a challenge for us to be direct. That wasn't in our nature, but the opportunities were a little bit like skipping the midfield because it was really congested in there, and then I thought we started to adapt. The thing that really kind of switched for us is that we started being more balanced in our offense. We were going down the right side persistently, and then they started to over squeeze. And once we figured that out and we're balanced on our offense, it was a lot more difficult for them to manage us.
And Coach, just on a personal level, this is your first ever professional game as a head coach. As you take away this result, and you got a quick turnaround, how do you celebrate and move on?
Yeah, I mean, the celebrations will be, fast and furious. But the most important thing, and I've talked to my women about this, is it's not where we start, it's where we finish. So as long as we grow from game to game and get better and better, that's what matters. I mean, I'm glad we got the point today. I would have wanted to be a win, but even if we lost, what I would care about is how we're going to get better the next day. And I believe in this group. They love soccer. They're so passionate about it. They want to grow as a group, and I feel super blessed for the opportunity to be a coach. And I think, Christ gave me an opportunity that I didn't necessarily earn, but I'm here and I'm going to take advantage of it. And I'm feel really special.
There you go.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Coach.
I want to bring in Brooke here. If that's
Go
all
Stein!
right.
So you hear Coach Brown and still tons of energy after the game. And she's right, because a couple of the, again, you heard about the cramping, how some of the academy players had to be switched around. It was, I cannot say the word enough, it was extremely hot. And as fans, as part of media, everyone in attendance, I mean, again, people were, any kind of beverage that you had was the best thing ever. But for the women, it was great to see that they did take that 3-minute timeout for the athletes, because it was much needed. But you can hear about the cramping, and rightfully so, because it was just extremely hot out there on the pitch.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a rough first half. The second half was good. Second half, it cooled down. I felt like, yeah, okay, it is still hot out there, but it definitely got a little bit nicer for the players as the game progressed. It was, you could tell, I mean, there were players who had some injury scares, if you will. Some had to get taken off the field, and in regards to just like getting switched out, basically. So yeah, I mean, there was definitely some scares, obviously, that happened, but that's what happens. First game, you have a lot of players who are coming from places like Australia and other countries and are playing, overseas, and they may not be used to this type of heat. I mean, this is hot. Practice doesn't do it justice. And I know they've had a few practice games here in the Bay, but it's, still, I mean, it doesn't do it justice. So it's going to be a learning process. I think once they get into like the fall, it's going to get really nice. So I think they'll be very happy about that. But yeah, overall, very happy with the way the game played out. I thought it was a fun performance overall.
Yeah, I think overall they did it really well. So again, barring any major injuries, which was really, really good being the first match, and especially your home opener. So hats off again to the entire organization. Hats off to Amanda for putting such a great product together with the USL, the Super League. First league ever, again, women's league here in the Bay Area. And we're excited to see what's going to end up happening as the games continue, both here, home, and on the road. So we can't wait to see what happens come next week. Now, flipping gears over almost not that far away, up in Corbett Stadium.
Denise's former team.
Yes. And Mr. Brown, who is now finally getting a first win under his belt. And it was, we saw game one, Dylan. It was tough. You're going against the national champs. The first half that we could see, it was 2-0. We expected USF to come back and a little bit stronger. Obviously, they went down 5-0 game one. But ironically, in the winning yesterday, which is really good for this team to go 1-1 early on in the season. And let me get this one screen away so I can bring this other one up. So let me take this away for a second. There we go. And I'll add this other one back up here. Matter of fact, let me do this way. See, when you have to do two duties at once, because with Pete, of course, I executive produced the show, but when you're here and you're doing double the amount of duties, you want to make sure that you look as good as you possibly can. Let me pop this up onto the scene here. But for the women, come on, work with me here. This is not going to do what I wanted to do. Here we go. Trying to take away a frame that makes it look a little ridiculous here. But yesterday, the first goal was, thankfully, it went to Georgia Brown playing against Jacksonville University. And this was the first goal here for South Florida. That was the first goal by USF, first of many, as like I said, they went on to end up winning it 5-1. Let's see, this is when I want the screen, so switch back the way I want it. That was the first goal. I also believe I do have the second goal here as well of the match. So let me bring that up for everyone. Again, thanks to courtesy of ESPN Plus, as the broadcasters did a great announcement of the match yesterday. Here's goal number 2 for South
Point, it's 2-0 Bulls. Both goals coming from their captain. It's just a fortunate bounce right back to her. Has all kinds of real estate with a dive from Bozic. Point, it's 2-0 Bulls.
Now, not as many folks in attendance as the home opener, but nonetheless, you did have fans out in the stands, which is always a great thing. And then the third goal here is from Michelle Hill, which makes it 3-0. So we'll get this quick 6-second highlight so you guys can keep up at home with the score. So this makes it USF 3-0.
Left until halftime. Sometimes you'd rather be lucky as this one just barely left until.
So that made the score 3-0. They went on to win it 5-1. And it's great to see them bounce back again. It was a tough loss against the Seminoles. We know exactly where the team wants to be at the end of the year, but more importantly, it was for Coach Brown to get that first win under his belt.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for Coach Brown, obviously. Exciting that he was able to defeat the Jacksonville Dolphins yesterday. Obviously, Coach Brown, for people who don't know, is the husband of Denise Schilte Brown, who obviously is the head coach for the Tampa Bay Sun. The good thing is with the program, right, is like, Coach Chris Brown, he's used to, like, players are used to him. Like, he was the assistant coach for years under his wife. So, I think he's going to do a pretty good job. And, overall, I was very happy with the win. And next game coming up is Wednesday against Southern. So it should be interesting to see how the Bulls can continue off of a 5-1 victory. And that's a good way to kind of get back going offensively. Obviously shut out on Thursday to a really good Florida State team. So looking forward to Wednesday's match.
Yeah, it's the longest tandem duo, I believe, in any kind of collegiate sport. 25 years that they both been working together. 17 years as the assistant along next to his wife as she now goes over to the Pro League. But here is the game ball that is handed off over to Coach Brown.
Y'all are part of history tonight because y'all just gave Coach Brown his first victory as the head coach.
So good to see that he gets that first victory is always the hardest one, Dylan. Out of any sport you go into, but in soccer, it makes it extremely hard because there's been teams that start out 0-6 before you get that first one under the belt. So it's a great bounce back for the ladies. It's good to see they're now 1-1 for the season. Like you said, coming up Wednesday, and then for the men, the Thursday home opener as well. So it's hot this time of year here in Florida. Good thing is that a lot of these athletes, they know if they're here locally, how much dehydration means a lot to make sure that you stay as such, because the last thing you want is to cramp up, especially if you're running the length of the pitch the way they do. But good to see Coach Brown getting that first win again across 275 there. It was good to see his wife to get that 1-1 draw from their match. So good things are happening here at the Bay, and it's always interesting to see for the Rays as they continue kind of their up and down type of season. But we know because they're looking forward to not only finally getting that okay to make the brand new stadium, but come 2027, they got to load themselves up with a lot of great talent because, again, brand new venue, you can't keep putting out the same product, but County Cash continues at least to keep the guys in the hunt.
Yeah, they were able to sweep the Diamondbacks this weekend, which is actually a big sweep for the team, obviously. The Diamondbacks have been playing pretty good baseball here, and now they are on their West Coast swing. They got the Athletics tonight, which is a bit of a quick turnaround given they are at Tampa tonight or yesterday. So bit of a quick turnaround. They should hopefully be able to get past Oakland. I don't see any issue there with that. But, I mean, you obviously have the Dodgers following that series, and then you have the Mariners. So the West Coast road trip before returning back home to take on the Padres the weekend of August 30th. So only a few more weeks left of the regular season, and the Rays still trying to look to hopefully keep themselves in the hunt. Although I just don't know if they will have enough to be able to get a wild card spot. The AL is just so top heavy right now that it feels like they're probably out of the hunt right now for a wild card spot.
Now, unrelated, obviously, as we've gone around here a little bit, soccer, baseball, and then NASCAR, which soon to be in Daytona, but a very condensed version of the race yesterday.
Yeah, well, actually, they're finishing the race today. Only 51 laps yesterday. Rain, unfortunately, took advantage of the race. Hopefully, that's not the case this weekend at Daytona. We've seen that happen before. So we'll see how the weather fares at Daytona this weekend. But a little bit of a condensed race yesterday. Only 51 laps in. Rain ended up hitting. That track, I believe, does not have lights, so that is a reason why they had to push it back to today. So 11:30 start time, and ironically enough, I'll be doing an interview with the global director of Ford Performance literally right as the race starts back up. So he may be having a few eyes focused on the NASCAR races. He hopes to try to see one of his Ford drivers get the win in Michigan before heading into one of the biggest races of the season prior to the postseason coming up here in a few weeks. So it should be pretty good, and looking forward to seeing how Michigan plays out today, especially after the whole Dillon dilemma that happened a few weeks ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of people still voicing their opinion from it. I mean, it's almost 2 weeks now from the incident itself, but there's still a lot of people that are voicing their opinion of what they thought. And some people feel like the punishment wasn't harsh enough. So NASCAR right now is now winning over a lot of fans. As much as they change, I think a lot of stuff you had to leave it the way it was. But again, we shall see as the season progresses here. But there was still a lot of talk from what happened between Austin Dillon, Joe Logano. So not a lot of folks that are extremely happy. I've not gotten any updates either from Kurt Busch in that incident where he was arrested for a DUI, unfortunately. And who knows? Hopefully he'll figure out if and what happened, what went wrong, and then that hopefully it doesn't happen again, because your first one should be a wake up to obviously never have another one again. But a lot of folks, and there's a lot of folks for whatever other reason, and here in Florida, they are extremely harsh as far as the DWIs if you end up getting one, or DUI. But I hope that Kurt Busch hopefully end up learning his lesson and then not doing it again. So we shall see when it comes to any updates from there. But today will be a very condensed short show, as I do have a conference call again. When you're one man running the operation here, it's a little bit tough, but I had an unscheduled conference call that is extremely important for me to take this morning as well. So with that being said, thank you all for not only downloading the app over on SR1029thegame.com, for everyone who listens around the world, from Vietnam, France, Spain, Germany, those of you here stateside across our great nation. I can't thank you enough for just supporting here the Coastal Sports Network and everything you guys try to do to share out and let everyone know that we are here, and for the foreseeable future, not going anywhere. As you guys know, it's a branch off of Broad Street South. So again, I do appreciate the Tampa Bay Sun Football Club for allowing us to cover them for the entire season, the same way with USF. But I am Angel Martinez. He is Dylan Spalding, beat writer here for Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game. We hope that you guys all enjoy the rest of your day. We will be back, as far as Martinez Company, on Wednesday, back at 10 o'clock. Pete will be back tomorrow from 7 to 10 a.m. with a slew of guests. And of course, coming up later on today is my hermano, Rich Quinones, The Drive with Q. That will start at 3 o'clock. And then later on this evening will be Lloyd Vance's Insider Football. That will start at 8 p.m. So a lot of stuff going on here on the network. Always stay tuned on the website, because you never know what's coming up next, or whatever will come up, whatever we are covering here as the fall season, even though we're in summer still, but as the fall season will ramp up and other things to come. So thank you all for listening in today. We do appreciate it. Thank you to Dylan for stopping by, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. And let me go back. Listen, fingers. I had to make a quick one today because I didn't get a whole